All right, my friends, welcome back to Irons United, and we are back with a fresh episode of Gift of the Gab. If you're new to the channel, make sure you're in that subscribe button. There's plenty to talk through. As you can see, I'm joined with three of the other lads. We are all down in the dumps because of what's happened this weekend, and we are going to cover all of it. I'm joined by Stel and Luke this evening. Ant's on the chat. What I will say is Ant's going to be manning that, so any opinions, any questions, get them in and he'll let us know and we will answer them. But let's just get into it, boys. It was awful on Saturday, weren't it? I've never seen anything like that. This evening, I've supported this club for many years now. What I will say is Ant's going to be manning that. So any opinions, any questions, get them in and he'll let us know. How did you feel about it? So I'll come to you first. I know you did come on the channel after the game with a little video and stuff, but it was just crazy.
I had a bit of a sad rant, I think, for a couple of minutes. I mean, how quickly can everything turn? You know, we comfortable first half, everything seemed fine. Getting into the second half, they changed the system, they score a goal, and then all hell broke loose. You know, I guess we all have our differing opinions as to what we think about fans running on the pitch. I can't help feeling that it just didn't do us any favours at all. It certainly put the team off. It's stirred up the hornet's nest in the ground, and it just got really hostile. And I just remember just sitting. I'm at the Bobby Moore lower, and I just sat there for about 10, 15 minutes without being able to say a word. I was looking at what was going on, and I was just really gobsmacked. It was a real shame. Very sad day.
You know, obviously this is 2 years. This is 2 years of hurt that has, you know, it's finally bubbled to the surface. A lot of people have very different opinions on the fans, the way they've acted. I, for one, don't condone fans running on the pitch, but I am empathetic to the fans getting in front of the director's box and having a go. I know, Luke, we've spoken, you know, ever so, you know, a few times over. You know, how we felt about the fans, but you know, what did you make of it all, mate? And you know, did you think the fans were, you know, within their reason to be getting in the, you know, the bald faces as the way they did?
Yeah, it was more, I think, shock first of all that they even got on the pitch, and I think I was relieved actually to see them in front of the director's box. But I think there's been a lot of things around this March that it's been stuck in the back. With the cancellation, and you've got to realise that these guys who were organising the march had a lot of followers, but you can't surely think you speak for every single fan that has got an opinion against the board. You can't do. It's not gonna. You're not gonna. You might get for the majority, but it's still a minority. When you're thinking there's 10,000 plus that want to march, and it was only what. 1,000 standards or so, maybe standing in front of the director's box, giving it all that. That's 1,000 that still wanted to march. That weren't happy about getting cancelled. One thing I will say about the pitch invaders, I haven't really got an opinion on it because at the time I was just in shock, and it was kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Before anyone puts down the invaders, which I've got no problem with, that's fine, that's your opinion. I don't condone it either, really. But the thing that it highlights, which I think is something that's been going on for the last year and a half. How fucking easy was it to get them on the pitch? Yeah. And how long were they on the pitch for? This is what we've been saying for ages. The stewarding is a load of shit. And no one from the press, I'm sorry I'm ranting now, this is anger now. This is 2 days worth of anger coming out. No one from the press has highlighted the video that's gone viral of the steward that was asleep. That highlights how shit it has been down there. Yeah. And you're telling me that whether or not you want to come on the pitch or not, you shouldn't have the option to go, I'm going to come on now. Fuck it. Why not? I'm going to come on now. You should be going, I'm going to have to go past 3 or 4 stewards or even get near to the pitch. You shouldn't have even been able to get past that first barrier.
Do you know the bit that was most shocking to me, Luke, was how easy it was. And then when they were on the pitch, where was the nearest steward? Where was the nearest security? There was no one there. The geezer with the flag, for instance, stood there. Yeah. For a good fucking minute with that flag until
he turned around.
Oh, you know,
he took the flag out of Collins and an out of Itch's hand to do it then, and even then, the only one that got on the field was a massive fat bloke in charge of it, or in a suit. Tell me how that's a fucking steward.
I don't think the stewards knew what to do. I don't think they were instructed in what to do. You know, I think they're given instructions as to how to handle people, telling people to sit down in the terraces. But I don't think they had any guide whatsoever. If there's ever a pitch invasion, this is the action you take. Yeah. Because, as Luke said, it took ages for anyone to come on the pitch.
They were clueless. They were clueless, on Saturday. I think it drives home when you see Cruft security reacting quicker than us. I know it was doing the rounds last night. A bit of banner on Twitter, but right. It was mental how quick they got in there. And as we're asleep on the sideline, not giving a shit about a geezer standing in the middle, the players are having to show him off the pitch. It's embarrassing. It shouldn't be happening.
On that, guys, Schizo Base has come on the YouTube chat and he's just said it was easy to get on, but easier to get off. That's concerning.
Yeah, very concerning.
Absolutely. Yeah.
My quick take on it, I think if you want to get on a football park, you're always going to get on the football park either way. It's the fact that it's the time it's taken for any steward to come near him, like you said, Dan. And then you look at Crufts, and I mean, there must have been 10 people around that guy within the space of 20 seconds or whatever, jumping on him, getting him off the park. So I
think it kind of highlights that these stewards are not proper stewards. The big bloke, the fat bloke that came on first, he looked like he was about 17, 18 years old, and these guys are not, they don't know how to handle football fans. And I think we've been saying that from the last season when we moved into the ground. People were saying that, and they're not football stewards. They don't know how to handle. If these are stewards, if any of these are stewards that we used from the Olympics, you're gonna be able to handle a family of 3, 4, husband, wife, and its 2 kids, with their picnic. They're not gonna be a problem to you. But a football fan's a different kettle of fish. I'm not suggesting that we're more aggressive or anything like that, but we're just a different kettle of fish. And I don't think these stewards do not have any idea how to handle football fans. And I read today that apparently the board are asking to take over more control of the stewarding. Maybe should have done that when we first moved in there.
Yeah, it should have been done from day one. That should have been one of the things that was part of that blueprint, and it was put in place. People should have been brought over from the bowling. Instead, they shit on them like they did a lot of other stuff. I'm pretty sure we'll cover that, as today's gift of the gab goes on. But I've already touched upon it. It's 2 years that this has been boiling over for. But I think it has to come back to the march to some extent. The actions of Saturday, people were promised the march. It didn't happen, and then there was a select few that still felt the need to, protest. Yeah. I don't know if you guys would agree with that, but that's kind of the way I see it.
Yeah.
Do you think that is the case? I don't mind who takes that, but
no, I'll go first. Look, the march was meant to be. I even went to a meeting. I feel a little bit sort of naive now because I think some of the things that were said in the meeting hasn't happened, come out in the end. To the reason why it's called off, but fair enough. As far as I know, the march was meant to be peaceful. It was meant to be along the lines with police, or that's what I was led to believe at the start. Like many others, I think that there was a route to go along. Banners, flags, etc. Do that. Don't come in the stadium, but do it outside. Let it be known. And then after a few meetings, boom, gets taken away. People have paid money, all the other stuff to go in. And what people don't realise is it's a lot like West Ham fans. It's like any football fan. You can't just switch your emotions off. You can't just go, I'm not doing it no more. Okay, I'm all right there now. Okay. The people who have been lying to us for God knows how long now have turned around and said, we'll change this, that and the other, and we'll make sure you won't have to march because we'll change it. And a lot of people are going, but how do you fucking know that they're going to do that? How do you fucking know that they're not going to be lying to you again? And now we've got to wait for next season to do it again, possibly, if I don't have another good window. And if you don't change, it don't happen. There's so much red mist around that stadium. I don't think anyone realised. And the problem is, I was listening to the radio today and there was a caller coming in who said, I enjoy the stadium. I enjoy my experience. I'm not bothered about it at all. I'm right at the very back in the gods of the stadium. And if I was there at Upton Park, I'd have a stanchion in my way of my view. Fair enough. mate. I'm the same. I actually quite like the stadium as well. I know people are going to hate me and shoot me down for that, but I don't really care. I actually think the stadium has a potential to be fantastic. I'm pissed off with the owners with their lies and etc. That's what I'm pissed off with. But if you like the stadium, if you like the experience, fair enough, respect to you. Go and enjoy it, please. I know some people obviously ruined it for you on Saturday, but for me, so did the fucking team. So that's just another side note.
Yeah.
The march didn't happen. You have anger, you have agendas. Something like that is bound to happen. And I think the owners were a bit naive to think that nothing was going to happen. The way it happened was shocking, but I'm not surprised it happened.
I totally agree with that, Luke. Completely agree with that. And you've made an interesting point there about the team. You know, the board are getting a lot of stick, and rightly so. You know, we are, you know, the four of us here are firmly balled out. You know,
yes, we are
very firmly balled out.
I don't know about that.
But the team were awful. The first half was all right, but you cannot crumble the way we did in that second half. And the reason I say that is I don't know if anyone was watching Sean Dyche, but every time someone come on the pitch and something bad happened, a negative happened, he was Ed's boys. They managed to stay in the game. Why did our boys lose it so much? You know, like, and they have to take the blame. And I think David Moyes' tactics were all wrong as well in the second half. They made changes and we didn't.
Yeah.
You know, how do you feel about that still?
Yeah, no, I agree. Dyche called it, didn't he, at half time? He changed it. He put another player up front, and they were on the front foot, and we were too slow to react. But the irony, I still think right up to their first goal, I actually didn't see that goal coming, to be really honest. I didn't see it coming. I thought that they might push a bit on, you know, maybe try and exploit us a little bit. But when they scored, and it was a good goal, when they scored, I was like, oh wow, oh fuck. But even at that point, I still thought, do you know what? I think we might have enough in our tank to get it back. And I, you know, I got to be honest. As soon as that first fan ran on the pitch, as soon as he ran on, I went, that's it, game. That's it. We're not gonna win now. Now we'll never know, will we? You know, we'll never know if we will come back into the game because the players, their heads went completely after that. You know, and they scored straight away their second goal.
Still, it was like we knew that when one fan ran on, we knew as West Ham fans more was going to follow. In normal football matches, one is just one, but we knew the minute that first fan ran on, there was going to be more problems. The saddest
thing about it for me was at no point did Moyes try to get the players over and talk to them and try and change things, trying to get their heads back in their game. At no point did he try to steady the players and say, like, ignore what's going on. We've got a big game here to concentrate on. That was one of the biggest concerns to me.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Just
like Sean Dyche was doing it, but Moyes didn't.
A question coming in from Facebook from Sam Railton is, what's up with Mark Noble's anger?
Well, do you know what? I'm going to let Luke attack this one because he made an interesting point in our group chat about Mark Noble and whether or not he thought it was right or wrong. So the floor is yours, Luke.
You'd have to remind me about that exact comment because I think I was really.
Yeah, well, you said he was within his rights to do it because at the end of the day, fans shouldn't be entering the field of play like that anyway. Honestly,
right, I do this every single time I see a pitch invasion. It makes me laugh, and because it's not West Ham, I take a humorous look at it. Remember when Brian Clough pulled off that back in the day? Brian Clough got that fan off, right? And he said, once you cross that white line and you're not wearing a kit, anything goes, right? Because the players' safety is in it. This is back in the day when you respected players because they went on 100 fucking million a week, right? Because they were like boys in your local pub, so you knew. He said the ones that are on the pitch are the ones that are good enough to kick a ball about and play for your club. That was the idea, right? At the time, I kind of laughed at it when he got hold of the fan because I thought, oh, someone's actually fucking done something about it. Because I was so in shock, I didn't know whether he was protesting or having to go to the players or what was going on. At the time, I kind of agreed with Mark Noble saying, well, look, you can't really be on the... I agreed more with the protest to the director's box than I did with the players on the pitch. I'll be honest with fans on the pitch, I'll be honest with you. Second thoughts, as it's gone on, I've kind of lessened my approach with Noble. I'm actually more against him than I am for him. I think Noble's frustration stems from the fact that he wasn't having a great game. the West Ham. In my opinion, I don't care what anyone says. It's like I said to you lads before I come on tonight. I'm gonna have opinions you're not gonna agree with. But in my opinion, we weren't playing brilliantly. We were playing okay. But when you're in a relegation battle and you have more to lose than Burnley do, we should be playing 10 times better than that and scoring 2 more goals than we did at that point. It was 0-0, and I wasn't surprised Burnley scored because it was going to come at some point if we were still playing that shit. It was a frustrating day, and it came out. And if I'm defending Mark Noble at the start, I'm waning a little bit because when he's saying in interviews he's protecting himself, you're Mr. West Ham. No fan is going to walk up to you and whack you one unless you're getting in his face saying "fuck off, you ain't a player." It's like someone going to Trevor Brooking or James Collins who's on the same field and whacking him. It ain't going to happen. They might not Kiai or Harks, and he's not a fan favourite. They're not fan favourites. Noble, you're Mr. West Ham apparently. You're club captain. I can't see a fan run up to you and trying to hit you. But just quickly, I want to say I said this ages ago. I said this ages ago, right? This whole thing about backing the players up, saying don't let them lose concentration. What happened before Moyes was in? They had a fucking holiday camp under Bilic. They could do what they want when they like. They had no fitness. They had no direction. They'd done what they like. They picked their wage up and they pissed about with their careers at West Ham. They didn't give a fuck. Moyes comes in, tells them what to start running about, and suddenly we get a better team. And out of it, he's Mr. West Ham now himself. He's like the Messiah. Back at the start of the season, we all wanted to fucking ship out. We thought it was a waste of money. Now that's all changed. So suddenly the players have started thinking, oh, we've got to run around now. We've got to work for ourselves. And thinking, okay, now we've got to support you, have we? Now we've got to support you because now you've decided halfway through a season you're going to start playing football. You're going to start playing for the badge. Doesn't work with me. These players are $100,000. These players are tens of thousands of pounds a week. And I've got to say to you, oh, please win today. Oh, please, I want to cheer you all game. If I think you're playing shit, I'm going to boo the fuck out of you. And I'm going to stop now because I'm ranting too much. I'm getting too angry.
No, you made an interesting point about Mark Noble being Mr. West Ham. Do you think, I've thrown this at you still, do you think because he is Mr. West Ham, that's why he loses his rag a little bit more than the average?
I said this a few times in the past that I just wonder how much of the captaincy plays on his shoulders. He is Mr. West Ham, but everyone looks up to him because he's a local boy. Everyone looks up to him because he's been there since he was a youth. And everyone looks up to him because he's a captain. I just honestly wonder how much of a burden it is to carry all that on his shoulders, and was it a good it seemed like the right thing for Bilic to do to make him captain, but 3 seasons on it feels like it could have been the wrong thing to do. I kind of agree with Luke and I kind of don't agree with Luke on what
Fair
happened
enough.
with him and the fan that ran on. We said a moment ago that fan was on there for a fucking long time, and he wasn't necessarily in Noble's face, but he was there. And Noble must have been wondering, well, where are the stewards to get this guy off?
Yeah.
And at that point, Noble probably went, well, all right, I've got no choice. I've got to do this myself. Now, the way he tackled him, I don't know. You saw how Ginge went up to the guy with a pole.
Yeah.
And he put his arm around him and he talked to him and all that. I just think whether it was because Noble was having a bad game or not, I think, Noble should not necessarily have lost it. He should have shown how a true captain should be, I guess, even though a fan is not part of the team per se. But he could have done it in a different way. But I kind of don't blame him because that guy was there for a long time. So Noble must have been thinking in his head, we need to get on with the game. This guy needs to be off the pitch. No one's helping me. I'm going to get him off. That's probably what went through Noble's mind. Noble probably lost it at that point.
I think a lot of it with him is the passion. It boils to the top. He openly come out. I've read some stuff that he said. After the game now, and he's come out and said, when we win, it's great at home. I take the wife out for a dinner and a glass of wine. But when we lose, I'm the worst person in the world to be around because I'm a fan. He went, it's not just about me being a footballer and losing football games. He said, this deeply affects me the same way it does the fans. And I think maybe with what happened on Saturday, a fan being on the pitch for the length of time that he was, it affects Noble differently to the way it would have, At the end of the day, I was sitting in the stands thinking, who the fuck is this cunt on the pitch? Why the fuck is he affecting this game? And Noble's a fan like us, and maybe he has the same thought process. You know, we do have to look at it from that angle. It's difficult for him. You know, I am going to pick up on another point that Luke said, though, about the whole holiday camp and the fact that the boys have flown out to fucking Florida or Miami or whatever it is for some warm weather training. And that, to me, lads, after Saturday is fucking farce. That is wrong. That is fucking wrong. They should not be out there training. But as far as I'm concerned, you look, they're pampered enough.
This is what I'm saying.
What is this instilling in our team? It don't matter. You lost 3-0. We're going to go out to Miami. Fuck it. Bring your wives and kids. We'll have a good old time for 3 weeks.
It's the pandering to the modern footballer, and this is the problem. You can't fight with a modern football team because they have no fight in them. Burnley, God knows what Sean Dyche has done there, because they're like your classic working class, old fashioned football team. There's nothing pretty about them, but they get the fucking job done. That's what we need in a team right now. But fundamentally, we've got a team that hasn't got a fight. When you watch the team play, there doesn't seem to be a clue. There doesn't seem to be an actual direct direction of play. It seems to be get it down the left-hand side to Antonio or to Creswell, or pass it along the back row for 3 times. Wait for someone from the midfield to pop up for the ball. Then look for an Arnautovic making a run. If we're lucky, one of them plays a decent enough ball to go through to an Arnautovic. Then we wait for him to do something, or Lanzini to do something. But right now we're in shit form. So all of our play just comes to just patters out after every chance of an attack. Sorry. These footballers, I'm sorry, I don't care anyone. It doesn't have to be West Ham. It can be any modern footballer. I mean, Oscar's come out today and said he doesn't even want to go World Cup. That's a joke in itself. These footballers are pampered, and I'm not going to keep defending them all the time. I'm not going to keep saying get behind the team, get behind. We've been behind the team. I've been there. I've sat there through 90 minutes when we've lost 5-1, 4-1, 4-0, 5-0 to Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, Man City, all of them. That one, all of them. We've sat there and we've given up after a little while because it's pathetic after a while, because they didn't even want to try until Moyes turned up because they were too busy having a Barney. So when do we stop supporting? When have we ever stopped supporting? Apart from until it come for Saturday, and only a few done that. Then it wasn't the whole fucking fans, was it?
Lads, there's a lot of comments coming through on YouTube, so I'm just going to quickly nip some and get them out to you, and then you can decide where you go from here. West Ham Jordan saying, we are down. I'd take relegation over Premier League if it meant these 3 clowns leave. 10 days ago, this is from Schizo Base, 10 days ago, anyone picking up on problems at West Ham United would have focused on the board. Now, with the way the march was called, any reporting will mention hooligans. Where are we? Sessi has said, with the last 8 games left, honestly, do you think we can realistically get at least 3 wins from the last 8 games? We need a miracle at this point, and I don't know if that will be enough to survive. And there's more coming in, but I'll give you one more. Board is shit, team are poor, stewards are shit, but we don't need to act like thugs both on and off the pitch. If we go down, do it in style, dignity, not a laughing stock. I've got a lot more, so I'll pass this over to you.
You know, picking up on, Sesse's, comment there about 8 games, big 8 games left. I honestly was looking at it thinking we were at an advantage because, before Saturday had kicked off, 6 of them were being played at home. Right, now, we fucked one of them up. There's talk that the next game is going to be played behind closed doors. Now, gents, I don't know if you agree with me, but I've looked at the fixtures, and the only 2 games I see us even having a fucking shadow of hope in is the next one against Southampton and the one against Stoke. And surely playing this game against Southampton behind closed doors, if it happens, is detrimental to our chances. It has to be, because not all fans are going to carry on the way that some of the fans did, on Saturday and affect the team. There are some fans that do genuinely want to be there, get behind the team, and it does help, whether you want to think that way or not.
Well, this is the thing. Every fan gets behind the team. This has never been. We've all had our moan throughout the season about how shit we've played and how shit some certain individual players have been. And I've had my rants about Noble. I've had my rants about Antonio recently, who I think is just lazy, doesn't seem to want to be there, and various other players. But at the end of the day, we're actually all behind the team. We all want the team to do well, and it is interesting how the media are now beginning to sort of turn it, where it was against the board and now it's hooligans who are disrupting things. you know, and hooligans sounds like as if they're not behind the team. You know, even the hoolies, you know, want the team to win.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a shame. It's a shame that now everything is going to be sort of like focused on the fans. You know, as if it's the fans' fault.
Exactly what the board wanted.
Yeah,
exactly what the board wanted.
The board have done really well out of all this March stuff. Karen Brady is an astute businesswoman. She knows how to play the game. She knows how to turn media attention away from her. She's played, and in a way, what happened on Saturday, you know, with fans running on the pitch, it kind of vindicated her.
End of the day, lads. Karen Brady's had their pants down and sucked the proverbial cock. She did it, mate. She's absolutely fucking loving life right now. She got exactly what she wanted.
And she's deep-throated, like she's never deep-throated anything before.
Yeah, mate, she did it. Because she knew they're going to come out on top, mate. Fucking laughing all the way to the bank. It doesn't matter. Like, they're clever people. That's why they're still in charge. That's why they're skimming off the top. That's why they're asset stripping. It's why they don't care. Essentially, you know.
Sigurd Froy Jonathan, that's how you pronounce his name, hopefully. He says we need many pints. We need many pints.
I had many pints.
Yeah, so did I.
I wrote a very angry drunk article as well in my haze, which was.
Do you know what, mate? That was pretty decent. There was only a couple of spelling mistakes considering you were.
Not bad for a drunk.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Thank you very much. I was impressed myself.
Is that going on the website, Luke? Is that going on the website?
I'll do that tomorrow. I didn't have enough energy to do it today. I want to get on here and I'm fucking ranting. Yeah. So.
Well, on that then, on the subject of ranting, we're going to probably get into our biggest rant so far because I'm sure the majority of the West Ham faithful tuned into Talksport this morning and listened to the biggest cock in football, Jim White.
Jim Shite.
Yeah, his love of the ball. His love of the ball is starting to make me feel sick.
Jim Shite talks shite on talk shite. That's what I wrote it. So it's so fucking true.
And obviously, he's a board lover. He's pushing the board. He absolutely loves it. He's got his secret sources. Not once did he reveal that source's name, though, did he? But
Sullivan Jr.
As a result of that, more lies have come out and come to the surface, haven't they? Because I'm pretty sure 2 weeks ago, lads, we were told we had £80 million worth of debt, but according to Jim Shite, we've only got £40 million worth of debt. So more lies.
Just under 40 million.
Yeah, more lies.
It's like 34, something like that. Yeah.
But yeah.
And no salaries or dividends. Just make that.
Absolutely not. They're doing it for the love of the team.
And they're 82.
They're doing it for the love of the team. Don't dispute that. They're fucking fans. So come on.
Now, I will say one thing before I hand this over. Danny Murphy, I commend the man because he was very neutral. He was the one stopping Jim White and giving the fans a chance to talk. He almost sees it from our point of view. But I am going to hand this over to you still because obviously you did write plenty of points up on this.
A novel.
Yeah, and so I will let you take it on. What you made of Jim Shite's little talk sport.
Well, I mean, we talked earlier just before we came online as to whether he actually does it deliberately to just goad the fans, and I can't help feeling that's probably what he was, because he can't surely believe what he's saying. You know, he's got this source.
He can.
Can he? He's got this source, from the club, that he's giving him all this information about the board not taking a salary, the board not taking dividends, and how much money they spent, and he kept going on about how much money we spent on transfers, the 10th largest spend in the Premier League. But he avoided the fact that we'd sold as many players for almost as much money. And he kept ranting on about how much the board...
Still, just before you carry on there, mate, that 10th best spend was just January. That's not both windows either, right? So no, because Danny Murphy made a point of saying that's January spend, and he went, it doesn't matter, it's the 10th biggest spend, and then Danny Murphy turned around and went, it doesn't matter, that's panic buying. Everybody down there spends money like that, Jim. You don't understand. And like Danny Murphy was making a point of saying, you don't understand how it works when you are a team struggling trying to stay up. So it's like they only spent that money in January because they were up shit creek without a paddle.
Absolutely.
Looking at it like, Jesus, we could get relegated here. We've actually got to spend a bit of money.
It's and Jim White also suggested that this whole the fans being sort of like outraged by the board. He put it down to only something like a few hundred fans, as if he hasn't noticed what's been going on for the past 3 or 4 months. And he talked a lot about, he backed the board, and he kept saying every time he made a statement, it was to back the board, and then he turned around and said, well, I'm not here to back the board, I'm here to give you the facts. Well, Jim, get your fucking facts straight, mate. Yeah. That's the thing. Get your facts straight and then present it to the fans, because all he did, he managed to wind me up so much. I wrote a bloody novel. I swear, I'll put that up.
It was a good novel. It was a good novel.
But my God, I mean, he just went on. And what can you say about the man? And you're right. Danny Murphy was trying to sort of challenge him and sort of suggest, well, hang on a minute. He didn't want to know. And the first caller that came on, talking about, his experience and everything, he was trying to cut the bloke off. And then Danny Murphy was the one that was saying to him, hang on, let the guy speak. So Jim White, he's just really not worth... I said to you guys in our chat group earlier, I said, how does he make a living out of this? How has he managed to make a living out of this? Because the guy, he's so biased. I don't know what the board have got on him, but clearly they love him, he loves them. He must be on their payroll.
Ceci, who I actually think is... Cess, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I don't know why it's not clicked. Jim White's got the longest tongue. How much he gets up the board's arse. Shmeh. So, I'm sitting looking at these comments and I'm gutting myself.
His tongue's so long he's cleaning their teeth for him.
Yeah, but I tweeted out earlier, didn't I? I said the board will need glass stomachs soon so we can see where the fuck he's going.
I mean, it was an odd show. It was and any true fan must have been sitting there listening to it, just getting wound up. Because it wasn't even laughable. It was just a wind up.
I can tell you how annoying it was. I work with someone who doesn't like football, and even he sat there and went, "Who the fuck is that cunt? He is doing my head in." And he don't even like football. Do you know what I mean? And even he was like, he is chatting some shit, isn't he?
The repeated line of, "But my sources are telling me." That was just like the most.
But
I tell you,
I'm going to make a quick valid point here. It's just something that frustrates the living daylights out of me. People talk about, I keep seeing posts online about pro board, against board, etc. I still honestly believe now that the against the board is well outweighing the pro board. But the point is, if you are a neutral fan looking in on West Ham and you look at the way that West Ham are conducting themselves as a business in the media, it's very, very bad. It's very bad. And no one can condone, let alone what the fans are doing running on the park, what the owners are doing. For example, Dan, you mentioned they done an interview last week with the West Ham Way. Now they're feeding information to Jim White and it's not adding up. David Sullivan's saying certain comments, he's putting videos out to the fans, and then what they're actually doing is not adding up. It's just consistent lies, and that's what people are failing to say. They're putting information out saying that this is how stupid they think we are. They're not taking a wage and they're not taking dividends out of the club. But then when asked about the loans and the interest on everything that they've put against the club, it's all dismissed and put back to, we're not taking anything from the club. Well, do you know what? You're making a factual statement. You're not taking a salary or dividends. But let's then work around it, because I can make factual statements about everything. I love you, but there's a but. Do you know what I mean? It's just... Sorry.
Even the guys over there at West Ham Way, who have always been very neutral, and not for neutral's sake. They do it because of the job that they're doing. They like to get the opinion of both sides. But even those guys, you can tell just from following their Twitters, they're starting to get sick of the lies. I can't talk from 100%, but you can read between the lines, and even those guys, are getting sick of it now, and it's at a point now where I said to Ant, and I'll openly be honest on this live stream, that lads, I was 5 minutes away from walking away and not doing any more stuff about West Ham. I was honestly I am exhausted about the negativity that has surrounded this club, and it is just people call us a circus, but that's detrimental to circuses. Honestly, it is a fucking shit show from outside in and inside out.
But you know what? I think it's good that we do these sorts of things, because yeah, all right. You know, we are all bought out, but we will listen to reason. You know, and if someone comes up with a valid point about something and backs it, I think we would all turn around and say, fair enough. You know, but the problem is that all these statements are coming out from the board, all these facts that they're giving us, these statistics, but they're not. They're skewed. You know, just like, you know, Jim White saying today that the board don't take a salary. He said it about fucking 20 times. The board don't take a salary, but as Ant just said, as soon as it went to the interest the interest on the loans, there's nothing to be said. You know, and that's how they hide behind these statements that they make. They say one thing, so everybody who's kind of a little bit naive about what's going on will go, "Oh, the board, they must be great. They're not taking a salary. They must really be doing it out of the goodness of their hearts." And yet, the 7% interest they're earning on the loans are killing it. You know, they don't need a fucking salary. You know,
something I would just say. So I don't know if you were finished there still. Sorry, mate.
Go on, mate. Go on.
No, you're talking there about the way you're talking about Jim White there. It's like he's David Dimbleby presenting Newsnight. It's that whole political kind of, you've got to say this because this is your agenda. You can't let waver in anything else. But the one thing I did find interesting, you're going about Danny Murphy there. I quite like what Bob Mills had to say on it. He was another voice in the background, but he was with it as well. And he was a Leyton Orient fan. It did actually make me laugh what he said. He said, first of all, he was like a Leyton Orient fan looking outside, and he said he didn't, to his mind, see any major protests about moving from Upton Park by the fans to London Stadium, which is a major reason why we bought into everything. That was the whole thing. If I was thrown up there, I'd have said to him basically that was half the reason why. But the thing that he said is about the when West Ham fans were taking a piss out of Leyton Orient for trying to get the stadium off, and they were saying, "Oh, we're old Leyton Orient, we're going to be left out in the cold if you go and move there," and all that sort of stuff. And he was it did bring back that memory of when we fought kind of, so I'd say, no, piss off Leyton Orient, it's ours. If we want it, we've got every right to go for it. And then after that, he was I thought he was going to be anti-West Ham, saying, "Oh, you took it off Leyton Orient anyway, this is your karma, this is what you get for doing that to us." But he was actually kind of taking on board the West Ham arguments as well. So fair play to Bob Mills. I just thought I'd say that as well.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate.
And I think you're right. I think he did make a valid point. You know, as much as I bought into it, and I'm sure most of you guys bought into it, you know, the whole move, why we had to move. But he made a point. He did say, where were the demonstrations? Where was the voice when the board turned around and said, right, we're moving? You know, and they said it very early on when they took over the club. You know, it wasn't as if it came as a surprise. And there were no protests, you know, and if there were, they were very quiet protests.
There were better lies then, though, still.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, well, I agree. Yeah, I agree. And like I just said, we all fell for it. We all thought that, you know, this nirvana that they were going to give us in the footballing world was going to come true. You know,
let's not even forget the fact that even on Talksport today, that fans from other clubs were phoning up and even ripping into our owners, and one particular fan from Spurs, a Spurs fan, came in and spoke on. But just on that, some reports coming out from Sky Sports Italy. Vialli has spoken to Di Canio, and we've got the following comment. I can imagine you running. So Gianluca Vialli has spoken to Paolo Di Canio on Sky Italy. I can imagine you running to help your team in the near future. Di Canio's response is as follows. Don't say that. Like West Ham fans, I couldn't work even one day with a man like David Sullivan. I'm with the fans in this bad moment. I'm going to add to that. When you listen to commentators, Tony Cottee, Tony Gale, Alvin Martin, they have not seen this atmosphere. They've not seen the way the club's run for such a long time. It's everywhere. It's everywhere, in my opinion. Sorry.
I think Cottee did previously mention it actually on Sky Sports News. He completely understood the frustration with the fans, and he's actually been recorded on an actual a mashup video, what's it called, a montage video of actually being behind the fans and saying he understands the frustrations when Sky Sports News were kind of going, we can't understand the fans' frustration. One thing I will say, just before I forget this, I've got to make this point. I've really got to make this point. It's been for ages in my head, right? The owners, there are times when I go to myself, am I just being bought into the whole balled out thing? Do I really want the balled out, or am I just being a sheep with everyone else? And I take a step back and I go, right, let's wait till the next game's over and I'll see where I stand. But then they do something in the media which makes them idiots, which makes them look a laughing stock. And then you hear over the next week, you hear snippets from the radio stations, you hear snippets from newspapers going, what the fuck are West Ham owners doing? And you think, oh, thank God for that, the pundits are seeing it. Now they're seeing what the fans are seeing. And then when we have enough and we start protesting, suddenly what the fans protesting for? The owners are great, giving you a massive flashy stadium. What you got to moan for? Well, you were moaning about them as well 6 months ago when they done a stupid transfer window. So you've said it in the past. Anyway,
it's funny during that Jim White show this morning. Danny Murphy made a statement. He said, "All this giving is just a smokescreen."
yes.
And Bob Mills even challenged Jim White, because Jim White said for the upteenth time they're not getting a salary, and Bob Mills said, "Why would the board be involved if they're not making money?" You know, and it's like, well, absolutely. Why the hell would they be involved? None of us here. If I had £1 billion in my bank account, and for the love of West Ham, I wouldn't just go and spend the money on West Ham and go, you know what, lads, it doesn't matter if I don't make any money. I'd want something out of it, even if I've got that £1 billion in the bank.
Yep.
You know, you do it. There are some people that do it for the love, but Sullivan and Gold and Brady aren't doing it for the love. They're doing it for the love of money, but not for much more.
You don't get rich unless you think you're going to make something. Simple as that.
Absolutely.
You know, many things have been said about the board at the end of the day, and you know, we all know the lies and the broken promises and all the rest of it. And you know, my biggest issue with the board now is that they have proven over the last 4 windows that they can't compete, and they are out of touch. They never put up enough collateral, and they buy the wrong players, and it's always fucking loan deal here, loan deal there, with a view to buy, and they're either shit or the view to buy is too expensive. It's a figure that we know our board's never going to spend. João Mario is a case in point there. He's not been the best player, but they're never going to spend that sort of money. And you know, I'm at the point now with the board that even if they promised us £200 million in the summer to spend on players, I still want them gone. That's where I'm at with them.
Yeah, totally.
Because there's too much has happened now. Too much has gone on at the club. They've driven fans away. You only have to take to social media. You know, fans of 40, 50 years, and they're all like, "I'll never set foot in that stadium again until these clowns are gone." That shows you the profound effect that it's had on the football club. You know, and that's why I say it goes deeper than just the club trying to run. It's affecting the fans and the way they support the club now as well.
It's funny, Luke. You know, that letter that you wrote last in your drunken.
I'll post it tomorrow. Everyone can see it.
That love letter he wrote to all of us.
But you know, I know you were sort of you were being sarcastic in what you wrote, but you talked about us being customers, and customers aren't happy, and when customers aren't happy, they complain. And what happened on Saturday, you know, as much as we may or may not agree with how it was done, customers were complaining about the products they were sold. You know, we and like you said, Dan, we were sold this lie, and it's not come. You know, it's like you go into a fancy shop, you buy a nice suit or something, and then you're told it's made out of silk, and then you find out it's fucking made out of nylon or something like that. You're going to be unhappy, aren't you? You're going to take it back.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what we've got. We've got a fucking. We're in a stadium that some people like, some people don't like. And the whole thing about the transfer window is Sullivan thinking he knows football, and he either goes and buys players or loans players, all the wrong type of players, all the sorts of players that look at what our dilemma at the moment. We all love Hernandez, but he doesn't fit into the type of team, the type of play. You know, he wouldn't have fitted under Bilic, and he doesn't fit under Moyes. You know, and we keep getting these players in that are like square pegs in round holes.
Do you know what it was?
Chich was a name that would sell shirts.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's all it was.
If he would have come in the first season we moved, and he was a marquee signing with Payet, it would have made sense.
And Arnautovic, can you imagine the sort of team we would have had then?
Unbelievable.
You know?
It'd have made sense then.
Yeah,
it'd have made perfect sense then.
Guys, I've got like loads of questions here, and loads of statements. So I'm just going to quickly get them out there because we have said we would do it. Schizo Base, if we were a circus, I think the animals are being mistreated. Paul has said he thinks the board are hiring internet trolls to split up the groups. I certainly wouldn't put it past them.
No, I wouldn't either.
Sigur, who mentioned Donald Trump earlier on, mentioning we were in a Donald Trump world. Maybe he wouldn't take Trump as an owner of West Ham, but would you take Red Bull and play in red and white? We'll come back onto this. I'll let you just feel in some, you know.
You're gonna have to remind us because I've forgotten all the other things you said earlier, mate.
Mickey Smith said reason why there was no protest about moving is because we were sold a brilliant dream. Had we known what the dream actually was, we'd have changed ourselves to the gates. Someone else jumped in on the back of that though and said, remember Spurs were interested in it, and we've replied saying Spurs wanted to knock the stadium down and rebuild it from brick for brick. And then there is another one, an interesting one. Southampton have just sacked their manager officially. Breaking news. Yeah,
really?
Yeah. So we have put a statement out there saying, interesting, Southampton will have no manager and West Ham will have no fans for the next game. And then
perfect combination.
Richard Fasson, as part of our show, has said, what have the board actually done to address Saturday? If we go...
Do you want to know what they did to address it? So they completely ignored it, and then I see a tweet from a young lady on Twitter saying the team that she would play against Southampton, and David Gold replied to said tweet, no Creswell, DG. That's the sort of cunt we have in charge. Not once did he apologise, not once did he address what happened on there, but he's bothered that this girl didn't have Creswell in her starting 11. But and yet we all felt sorry for him the other week because he's 82 years old and someone's right in front of his phone. Just, I'm sorry. That's the sort of shit that just takes the biscuit. The fucking club's in meltdown, you know, like... I lost the plot on Saturday. I fucking went off at Matt, the poor sod. He was banging on about Joe Hart losing his World Cup place, and I was like, fuck the World Cup. The club's going to fucking disintegrate overnight, and you're telling me about Joe Hart going to fucking Russia. I don't care. And now we've got David Gold giving it but you know, no Cresswell. Not sure about that.
Mickey Smith has said, go on, Dan, son.
Can I make a point quickly before we go? I need to get this out, right? Like I've been doing the many points I've been making tonight.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Luke's talking. This is odd, isn't it?
It's give to the fucking game and I'm angry. Shut up. Right. So this is what I'm made for, boys. What I'm made for. Anyway, is that right? I keep getting told, and I was one of these that said this, right? Before I become majorly bored out, I was kind of bored, right, you know, about a year or so back. 6 months in, fans started complaining about the team, saying we're not winning, this is not a world-class team, that sort of stuff like that. And the argument went round saying, if we were winning, no one would complain about the stadium, right? No one would complain about the problems. Everyone would just go, it's all right, but at least we're winning, right? We're not fucking winning, so we're going to complain. This is the fucking problem. We haven't got a team capable of winning. We haven't got a manager capable of getting a team to winning. That's why we're moaning. If everything worked, we wouldn't fucking moan. They're not winning. We complain. We have a go. That's what fucking happens. I'm sorry, but I'm just getting tired of it. I was one of them, and I'm ashamed of myself for saying it. Because now I see the delusion of me saying it.
But we're not the only football team that do it. You only have to watch Arsenal fan TV.
I don't give a monkeys about any other team that's not doing it.
No, but you know what I mean? We're not the only team that... But the point I'm trying to make is people seem to like go off at us for like, oh, God, you're only moaning because you're losing. But look at other football clubs. Look at Arsenal fan TV. They make money when they lose, mate. Robbie is loving life, mate.
I've heard nothing over the last two games. They've won the 2-0, 3-0.
Didn't some of the fans vote with their feet at the weekend at Arsenal and not turn up at the game?
Yeah,
a lot of empty seats apparently.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But do you know when I knew it got really bad? When Marcus came in the chat and said, "I'm balled out." That's when I knew it was really bad. Yeah. When Marcus put hashtag balled out, I was like, yes, it's finally over.
We've broken him down.
Dan, might need to just give a quick explanation on the kind of politics within our group and who was what, who was where, so people understand. Because Marcus, if you don't know, had been on a show that left halfway through the show and ruined all this.
I was hosting that.
He's one and done. He's one and done, isn't it?
Yeah, he's one and done.
So basically, obviously, there's more than just the four of us involved in Irons United. What is there? 10 of us, I think, something like that. And it was probably a 70-30 split for a long time, and then it's pretty much. I don't think anyone's balled in anymore, are they?
Marcus liked an essay for bored in, and
Yeah.
then he just puts one word replies with bored out.
Yeah, and then yeah, we basically fucked January, didn't we? And he was like, "Yep, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
No more." So
The
yeah,
bad worse, I think, was his thing. We chuck him. He kind of defend himself on here, but the guy chuck him under the bus. Sorry, Marcus, back you took your time. That's your punishment.
I'm sure if he's watching, we'll get a text soon.
Quick question from Richard Lewington: if we go down, what do you think the crowd would be in the Championship?
30,000.
30,000.
Yeah, 30,000. I don't think we'll ever fill it. I just don't think. Do you know what? That's got nothing to do with the support of the club, because I think if we didn't have all this shit going off the pitch, I actually think we'd get more than that through the door. But I just think a lot of people have just had enough now. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if for the last 5 home games there's empty seats, like a lot of empty seats. I just think people are going to stay away.
I remember.
Do you think that's because people would be afraid there might be more trouble, or
that coupled with what's going on? I just think people have fallen out of love with it. I would, ask Ant what I was like on fucking Saturday.
Well, Dan, if we rewind back to the home game against Swansea, I don't know how you all felt. We won that game. I left that game for the first time, pretty much in what I can remember, not motivated or arsed by a victory at all. And I remember it felt like it was the weirdest atmosphere after the game. You would have thought West Ham had been thumped maybe 4 or 5-0, but we actually won the game 1-0. And at that moment onwards, I thought, something is not right. Something's not right here. And then,
we had that chat after, didn't we?
Yeah.
That was, I think we met up for
depressed.
beers and that. We met up for beers and that before, and we were having a really good laugh. And then we went in there and we couldn't fucking believe what we were watching.
And we won the game.
Yeah, it was mad.
Yeah,
mad that game. It's been like this for a long time, and it, gents. At the end of the day, it's not. I think this season it's got worse, but it's been like this since day one in this stadium. And I'm not blaming the stadium there in any way, shape or form. I know some people like it, some people don't. I am one of those that don't particularly like it. I just think it's been poorly designed. The thing that done me was when Gold came out on that podcast the other day and said we knew going in that it weren't finished the way we wanted it. What the fuck? Yeah. I'm sorry, but you've had all that fucking time and you're still going in and not happy with the ground.
Yeah, the letter from Brady to the fans groups went after before the march, etc. Seemed to imply that we moved in probably a season too early, and David Gold then saying what he did in the interview seemed to sort of confirm that. We went in there when it wasn't ready. Whether it would have ever have been ready or not, I don't know. But it was evident that the board were again looking at the bottom line, the profit line, and going, "We'll do it now because it's the best opportunity. It will save us whatever it however many millions it would have saved them." But the biggest irony, the biggest slap in the fucking face of all this is when the figures came, when the accounts came out the other day. And there was a suggestion that we've only made an extra 8 million, more than we would have done if we'd stayed at the Boleyn. So, what?
The amount they sold the Boleyn for is heartbreaking as well.
Yeah, but I don't believe that that's the full story. I bet you if someone really bothered to dig deep, and I could be completely wrong. So David Gold and Sullivan and Brady, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but they've got some investment going on that plot of land. Don't tell me. Don't. Oh, I won't. Don't tell me that they've sold it for what 38 million. That they haven't got something going on in the background from all those buildings going up on that plot of land. They'll get a cut. They'll get a cut of the sale money.
And on the subject of the stadium, I don't know if you lads see it, but Baz obviously sent in a video to BT Sport. Baz is going to be on the channel on Wednesday, I believe, and he made some very interesting points. And he was saying that he honestly believes that a lot of the funds are being held back because the board want to buy the stadium. Now, if that's the case, shouldn't they be coming out and telling us fans that that's what the money's being saved for?
They reckon it's a negotiating ploy. They reckon if they make it public or they tell the fans that it gets out, that makes their bargaining ploy worse. So they'll have to pay more than they were going to. They'll have to bargain and negotiate more. Not being sympathising with them, I'm stating the facts. that is apparently what's been going around. That if they went, right, guys, this is the reason why we're not spending so much money, because A, B, and C. Suddenly, potential buyers go, or potential sellers go, oh, you told everyone now. Okay, you definitely want to buy it, do you? Okay, well, we're going to up it's a 50 more million that you got to pay for it now. That's just what I've heard. That's
as good as that sounds, though, the simple fact of the matter is that the ground's losing 20 million a year, and when you're at that much of a loss,
let alone if we have fans. If imagine if we don't have fans in it, it's going to be making a.
It's going to be even more. Yeah, exactly.
But don't you think they're playing a dangerous game? If they're saving the money in order to buy the ground, in order to buy the stadium, the risk is, as we're currently in, the risk is we go down. The risk is
it's the biggest risk.
It's a big risk. It's a heavy price to pay if we go down, because if they are saving money to buy the stadium, there'll be even less money going around next season when we're playing in the Championship. And we won't come back straight away, lads. We'll spend 4 or 5 seasons in the Championship.
I think I made a valid point on Saturday that I said, have a look at Sunderland. That's a real possibility.
Has anyone talking the Championship? Has anyone seen that footage of the lip reading that I think Dan from West Ham Fan TV put on Twitter?
Yeah.
For anyone that's got me on Twitter who hasn't seen the footage, go on it. I've retweeted it earlier on. There's been, for a little while, there's been rumours saying that Sullivan actually knows how to make money out of a relegation, i.e. parachute payments, etc. Right? He is actually much. You can clearly see it. It's slowed down. So you can see it. There's Championship. As soon as the first goal goes in, or around that sort of time, before he's told to leave the stadium, before the protests are going on, but it's actually pitch invaders come on, because you can see someone go out to him and start talking to him and saying he looks over and just goes, Championship. Now, read into that what the fuck you want.
They don't. They don't. And I honestly believe this, right? I don't believe they fear relegation solely because they know how to make it work financially.
Yeah.
For them, due to
they've done it enough.
They've done it enough. Yeah.
They've done it enough.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to jump in because obviously I'm wary of the time. But I mean, I'm sorry, guys. We're trying our best to get the comments out, but there's loads, literally loads. So
we'll take some questions before I ask my last one to wrap up the show.
So I'll put a couple of statements out. I'll ask you a couple of questions. Some Welsh Hammer said Mick on Monday as manager, Dom from West Ham Fan TV to assist as go-between manager and board. Let's do it properly. I don't even know who Mick on Monday is. Dom from West Ham Fan TV. I'm not a big fan of West Ham fans slagging off West Ham fans, so no thank you. Paul, who would you agree the long-term plan for them was to buy the stadium and then sell it on, but the government wanted too much, so in their mind, take us down and then the government would be running it at more of a loss. So instead, the dynamic trio of blah blah blah. He's talking about if they go down, they're going to buy the stadium. Basically, that's cheaper. Their plan. Yeah. The good thing is that we can get revenge against Wigan sooner rather than expected.
Oh fuck that!
Ian has said no depth. Ian has said no depth in the Ian said no depth in the squad. Coati needs dropping for Cullen. Would drop Hart again. He's not a confident keeper. Doesn't command his box. Why are we buying Hugo and not using him? They're talking about how many fans we would have if we go down. Schizo basically said this is why the West Ham fans action group was stupid to try and say progress was made with the board because some of the banners etc. All progress begins with the quality of the team. Everything else is to be dealt with later. Very valid point.
On the subject of Coati there, yeah. If a donkey was that fucking useless, you put it down. Fuck dropping him.
Say the same thing about
shit.
Hart. He was shit on Saturday. Noble was outrun again. Hart,
Coati. If you watch it back, lads, Coati's at fault for the first goal. He lets his runner go again. How many fucking times has he done that this season?
I'm sorry, I have to put this one in here. That bloody Luke talking so much, we've run out of time.
Martin's like, give a fuck. Don't like it, don't watch it.
But I think that's a valid point about the stadium, though, and that might be why the point Luke just made about uttering Championship. They want it. They get the stadium cheaper.
Do you reckon he did say? Do you reckon he did mutter that?
It does, but it does look like it still. It really does, mate. it does.
Yeah, they've tried their best. I mean, I don't know if it's like one of those things like if you when you were a kid and someone said if you say elephant juice but then you don't say it, it looks like you're saying I love you. You know, it could be something else, but it really does look like
all
you're
the
saying
things you could have said. You come out with elephant juice.
That's bad to get a giggle out of me.
Yeah, I don't know where that conversation went.
Yeah, I really don't know either, mate. You've left me in control of all the comments and it's freaking me out.
Drawing cocks on our faces in a minute. Sorry, another injury.
Oh, the guys are missing out on our WhatsApp group. I tell you,
no, they sure are.
Lit.
Go on, then.
No, that's fine, mate. I'm losing the plot. Luke, the legend, love you, Luke. This is what people are coming here.
I've just logged into the chat. You gotta mention the last comment that's just been put in there by Jack in the vlogs.
Oh, let me have a look here. Let's have a look. Why?
Give up. I actually give up.
You do know that's our Jack, yeah?
Why does Luke look like a bottle of Tango?
It's like you got that little kid in a room, which is making a really valid point, but he's just saying shit, and you're just going, yeah, all right, mate, yeah, cool. A fucking face paint on him. Who the fuck put him in there?
Oh dear.
Do you reckon a lot of people? Do you reckon a lot of people?
No, do you know what it is? Do you know what it is tonight? It's not even tango. I'm red through anger, people. This is anger. This is emotion. I'm naturally red faced. This is worse.
God.
Do you reckon people watch this sometimes and they sit there and they're trying to listen, but they're just like, what is going on with that geezer's face? The complexion on him just ain't natural.
Oh man, I'm sorry. That's good. That's good fun.
All I'm saying is, at some point, I'm going to get endorsements from Tango from this because I'm just taking abuse for just there's no reward.
Mate, you should. You'd make a fortune.
Oh fucking hell!
I think people are starting to. Some people are starting to say goodbye in the chat. Great show tonight, lads. Thanks very much for all coming in. Dan, have you rounded it off in any way?
Just before we wrap it up, last question to you boys. I'm gonna put it to all of you. So we've got. What is it? 8 games left. 5 of them are at home. Obviously, we don't know what kind of punishment we're going to face. I'll go to Ant first, then Luke, then Still. Do you think we're going to stay up? And if we don't, will we bounce straight back? Go on, Ant. I'll let you go first.
Do I think we're going to stay up? I absolutely pray to the gods and hope with my deepest of... I don't even know where I'm going with this. Yes, I want us to stay up so bad. I don't think we're going to stay up because I think we don't have depth in the squad. We rely on a couple of players. We're painting over the cracks, and let alone if we do lose the fans, it's toxic from top to bottom. Blah 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 blah. We are probably going to go down, which is going to be gutting. And if we come back up. And maybe not as so. I don't think it's going to be 4 or 5 years like what you said, Stel. I do think we probably would come back up within 2. And I know you mentioned Sunderland, Dan, and I'm not trying to be big-headed and say we're a different entity, but I kind of do think we're slightly a different entity because we have been down before. And we do have a reasonably loyal fan base. Although, yes, you are right. Things are shit and toxic, and things could change. So this could be different. But anyway. I think we might go down, yes. I genuinely believe we might go down. And I think it'll take us 2 seasons to come back up if we do.
Go on then, Luke.
Well, first of all, I'd like to be saying, the comment saying I'm a cockney Oompa Loompa. I'm 6 foot fucking 2, mate. I know look, my little symbol on the screen, but I'm not that fucking...
I'm changing the name in that. You need to be that on Twitter, mate.
If I fucking knelt down and put fucking shoes on my knees, maybe. Right, do I think I stay up? I thought we'd stay up all season until we lost to Swansea, and then I've just thought, fuck it, I don't even fucking know. I really can't concentrate a minute. I'm trying my best. I hope we go down, as long as you don't get any more injury. On a serious note, if you don't get any more injuries, you might just paste it. But I think it'll be one of them sort of scenarios where it's the teams lower than us or worse than us that will keep us up. But saying that, we picked up points against teams I didn't think we would. So we're all saying we won't beat the Arsenals and the Chelseas and what have you. We could well beat them and then lose to fucking Stoke and the rest of them.
Yeah.
So I'd love us to stay up because I think West Ham belongs in the Premier League no matter what happens about Championship. The argument that if we went down and all the plastics would filter out, whatever, doesn't bother me, as long as you support West Ham and you cheer Bubbles. But I'm still getting fucking pasted in the comments here, and I fucking hell, I can't get away from it. Just let it go. One thing I will say, and I watched it yesterday, and it was a really good watch. Nigel Khan takes apart David Gold in the YouTube
I saw
video.
that. Yeah.
If you got to look for it, it's a fantastic interview. It's really well researched, well worth the 20 minutes of airtime. So yeah, over and out still. Fucking Oompa Loompa.
Before the Swansea game, I looked at the final games we had and thought that we get about 15 points, and so 6 of those have already gone because I thought we'd get 3 from Swansea and 3 from Burnley. So if I'm on track with what I thought, we've still got 9 points to get, and that might just keep us up, but only because of what Luke said. Because we got 3 teams worse than us. I looked at the run-in, and we're not the only ones with a bad run-in. Southampton are not going to have a good run-in. Looked at the goal difference, and I think Stoke have got a worse goal difference than us. Almost as many conceded, but not scored as many. And then we can all safely say that West Brom are definitely down. So that kind of leaves Stoke, Southampton. I think we're in it. Huddersfield and Palace. And I actually think there are 3 worse teams than us. So do you know what? The irony is we could actually end up staying up with 36 points this season. We were talking a few weeks ago about keep staying up on 42, but I think we might even stay up on 36. I don't know what these 2 guys are laughing at, but
I'm sorry. It's so disrespectful. I'm really, really sorry, but I've just got.
No, mate, it's all right. I know you must have shared a message or something.
Mate, honestly, I was listening to every word, but I'm just fucking I'm just trying to take it. I've got the noodles comment at some point here as well, which doesn't fucking.
Well, you do love a pot noodle, though, don't you, mate?
Yeah, that's Snapchat. That's not for fucking YouTube. That's Snapchat. Leave it there.
Everyone will be trying to find him on Snapchat now. What's this? Pot noodle king? What? We need to see this.
Anne's pissing himself up in the corner there.
He's gone. He's done. But anyway, my final thought. Will we stay up? I'd sort of agree with you still. I'm not sure if there's 4 worse teams than us. I think they're equally as bad as us.
Fair enough, yeah.
I do think us staying up is not so much on whether or not we're going to win games, but we're going to be relying on other teams. These 2 are doing me.
They're done, aren't they? They're done.
They're gone. But yeah, I think it's more on whether or not other teams pick up the points. Jesus Christ, boys. Get yourselves together.
Oh, dear. The level of professionalism. Damn, we got to run this show without it.
Oh, tell me about it. I thought it was a good idea putting Anne in charge of the comments, but obviously not.
We need to round this up because I can't talk. I can do nothing.
But anyway, yes, that is it. We're done and dusted here. There's plenty more to come this week. Like I said at the beginning, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button if you are new and you have enjoyed it. Gift of the Gab will be back as and when there's more to talk about, which will probably be tomorrow because we all know what a fucking shit show West Ham are. But anyway, my friends, that is it from us. We are United. Peace out.
Bye.